What is up, my Gaggle of Geeks, and welcome to tonight's episode where we're going to be covering a couple stories. We're going to be talking about HBO Max and all of the things that are coming from that awesome new streaming service, or maybe not awesome. We'll see with our panel of guests. And also, we're going to be talking a little bit about this new game that we have where we're going to guess the price for cameo people. So more to come on that. But first, I want to introduce the people that are here with me. First, our co-host, Chaz. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going.
Oh, man. It's really cool to have two people on for this because that never happens. And yeah, these two are both incredibly, like when I see them posting stuff, they have a lot of insight into movies. They have really good, like, just a good base of knowledge and stuff. So I've always wanted to have both of them on, specifically Caitlin, because she's not been on yet. So that's a great introduction. Caitlin is a writer on Bleeding Cool and Bleeding Cool News. You can check her out on there. And yeah, welcome. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me. I'm actually the EIC, Patrick.
Oh, no. Does this help? Because that was going to go on too at the same time.
I have to give myself my own clout here. Come on,
I'm giving you the clout.
Oh, I've never been air horned before. This is weird.
I don't think anybody's worded that quite like that on the show yet. That's amazing. Okay, and also on the show, you've seen him before, literally just a few weeks ago, so we had to have him back on. Andre from Backseat Directors. How's it going, man?
It's going great, Patrick. Thanks for having me.
I didn't even give you applause. You look so good. Like, you came on the screen, I was like, my God. Look how dapper this man is. Haircut? Does that look like a haircut?
That's where I went today.
Oh, today? Okay, so what was your experience like for a haircut? We got to know.
Oh, it was great. Yeah,
I
haven't had a haircut in a couple months, so it was great.
It looks like everybody got one. Okay, I'll admit it too. I got one this week also. I got to be honest. The procedure made me feel a lot more secure. Like, I don't know if the same thing happened to you guys, but the minute I walked in, they're like, wash your damn hands. And I went straight back, washed hands, kept a mask on. They were really professional with it. At least the hairdressing place is following more safety precautions than a Walmart. So you can't ask for much more than that.
My stylist is just like human sunshine is just like perfect human being. She invited me to her wedding reception last year. Like, that's how much of a sweet person she is. She actually messaged me and was like, when are you coming in for a cut? I was like, this week, I guess. Sure, why not?
Nice.
So I just came in for a cut, and yeah, we wore masks the whole time, and she took my temperature at the door, and it was fine.
I don't have a specific
I did feel like I might have, like, evolved and become a Karen. I didn't want to, though.
We will never say that about you. How dare you? We'll scold you for that, though. Do you have a shop that you go to, Andre? Do you have like a person? I usually just go to the Great Clips. It's next door. That's good as I am with that.
So I'm kind of crazy, man. So my wife and I, we used to live in Provo, and when we lived in Provo, I found a guy that was incredible at cutting hair, and he's in Springville. So even though I don't live in Provo anymore, I'm in Highland. I still drive to Springville to go get my haircut because that's how much I enjoy going there and how much I trust my barber. So, yeah.
Well, hey, it's a good time to have a specific barber to go and support, I think.
For sure.
Speaking of support, I guess this is the weird segue into our first topic, because I was thinking to myself before we were getting started, like, it's very clear that there's been some crazy news this week, and the protests that are happening down in Minnesota are just it's getting to the point where it's pretty worrisome on both sides for everything, especially going into the weekend. So I was thinking, was there something that we could possibly do, or like maybe something that Gaggle of Geeks can do every week to make sure that we're like paying it forward to show a place where people can go and help. So with that, we have a link down below. Make sure that you go and check it out. It is the Minnesota Freedom Fund. Make sure that you're looking through it. It gives you a whole list of resources on how you can support the people there. and things like that. We just want to make sure to pay attention to that at the beginning of this and realize that there are some serious stuff happening, but that doesn't mean that we can't have fun. And I guess that segues into the first story that we have, which is Indiana Jones is going to, it's happening. Like, they've officially said that it's going to happen, and their director, James Mangold, is set to do it. And I am so freaking excited for this director choice. Like, this couldn't be a better, like, maybe next to possibly Spielberg coming back. I know probably there will be differences of opinions on that, but I want to start this off with Caitlin. What do you think about the news? Are you excited for James Mangold directing this? Anything that could have been better with Indiana Jones 5 so far?
This movie has been a mess since the day it's been announced. I don't even know how many times it's been delayed now. I think it's been delayed like 3 different times off the top of my head. I would have to check the wiki to know for sure, but it just never seems to be able to get off the ground. It's one of those, there's a couple projects right before the COVID-19 crisis hit where it was one of the ones where you're like, oh, that was supposed to kick off this summer and it's not now. And that's really just kicking something when it's down. And I don't know how I feel about it. I've always liked the Indiana Jones movies, but I'm not like super invested in them one way or another. And I love Mangold. I think he could do something very interesting with it, but I also know that because Spielberg is only going to be executive producing, there are going to be a segment of fans that anything they don't like, they're immediately going to blame on Mangold, and that's just not the way movie making works. You know, it's never the fault of just one person, and you know, it's way too early in production now to really make a call one way or the other. I mean, the producer that they interviewed that talked about this said that they're just like barely starting on a script.
Oh, really? Shoot, because that was going to be my question. When it comes to the scripts, the solo writer, I believe, the Kasdan son, was working on Indiana Jones scripts, if I understand.
They've had a couple of script writers now because it's been through a bunch of different directors and producers and release dates. When they announced this movie, they announced at the same time they announced Harrison Ford was coming back for like The Force Awakens. Like, they double signed him for both movies. So it's just, and then when the producer announced that they just barely started writing this the other day, I was like, yeah, that sounds about right. If anybody was going to come in and just throw out everything and start from day one, it was going to be Mangold, and he could do that. He could get away with doing that. He's got the clout to get away with doing that, and all the power to him. That's probably the right decision to make, because at this point they're probably on version 6 of who knows what script. You might as well just start at the beginning now, because they're not going to be able to get off the ground with production anytime soon as it is.
Do you think that maybe the fan base are going to embrace the choice with Mangold a lot more than other directors? What do you think, Andre, with that?
So this is something really interesting. And sorry, I was trying to find an article while Caitlin was talking, but I actually...
So you weren't listening?
No, I was multitasking.
Oh my gosh. Jesus.
Well, my typing is really loud on my computer because it's like right below my microphone. Otherwise, I would have.
At one point we're just gonna hear. That's dope. No, sorry.
I just talked about this on one of my most recent episodes on my podcast, just with my buddy, because my wife and we just watched all 4 Indiana Jones movies, and say what you will about some of them, I really enjoyed the movies, all 4 of them. Actually.
Some of them, one of them.
So to avoid getting into a movie review of old Indiana Jones movies, I might be one of those persons that Caitlin was talking about not having Steven Spielberg there. It's concerning to me, because what feels concerning is that not that he's not going to direct it, but why he's not going to direct it. So probably we won't get those details until after the movie's released, or at least within production of the movie. But why Steven Spielberg would decide to step down is what, if he even believes it, if it's capable of being a good movie. And so if the rumors are that James Mangold has thrown out the entire script and he's starting over, then maybe what they had before just was not good enough in Steven Spielberg's eyes. But Mangold is an incredible director. He's incredibly talented. I mean, his more recent films, I think, between Logan and Ford versus Ferrari those are top-notch films in my opinion. And so, whatever project he's going to touch, it's probably going to be good. How different it is going to be from the style that Spielberg brings to those movies is, to be seen, but we'll see. I mean, they got to get him. If they're going to do a movie, they got to do it soon. Harrison Ford is not getting any younger. What is he, 78, 79? So,
oh, yeah.
I mean,
But the thing is, the recent
soon.
work that he was on, Call of the Wild, I believe, was the dog film. Executive producer was James Mangold on that one. So they have a history with that. And Chaz, with Spielberg being gone, it's not necessarily, I guess, gone, but it could be more he's pivoted to executive producer. Does this give you worry, or is it more... Because there's a lot of people. James Cameron has executive produced every Terminator film. That doesn't mean that there's been incredibly successful Terminator films. What do you think is the possibility, and what do you think the chemistry is going to be like between the director and the actor in this one?
Well, so Indiana Jones has always been like a Western adventure, swashbuckler kind of guy, and I think Mangold does very well with that kind of character, especially in like if you've seen 3:10 to Yuma, he's able to handle like those fun adventures. And kind of what Caitlin was saying with the script just barely starting and like he's possibly going to a new direction. I know like with the Wolverine back in 2013, I know that suffered some pre-production stuff too because they couldn't find a director. And so he was committed to that story and it turned out pretty decent, like what was a development hell. So I have some hope for it, but also I don't think Steven Spielberg gives a fuck. I think he's all.
Are we allowed to swear on this? That's good to know.
Yes. Oh, this is definitely well, I don't have the. Damn it! I'm so sorry. Wait, yeah, I do.
Fuck this shit.
I've got one swearies. I took out most of the other swear ones because I don't know why. It was one night I felt I was too reliant on them, and I was like, just delete them, and I'll try something new.
No, they're great. But
yes, please swear, Caitlin. Say whatever you want.
But I think Steven Spielberg, he's making money off this regardless. And he's reached that age where maybe he's not going to direct as much and he's only going to executive produce, So, I mean, he has all the money. So of course, he's going to secure the financing and that's all that matters to producers on set and to the filmmakers. Like, that's all that matters to them. So, but Mangold, like, I'm not too worried because, like, I do have some faith in him. And like his most recent one with Ford versus Ferrari, I thought that was fun. I'm not a car guy at all, but he turned me on to that.
I love that movie.
Yeah,
that was my favorite movie of last year.
Yeah, and like so, I have hope for this. Honestly,
do you think Disney has any sway in a lot of this stuff within it? Is it like Star Wars level sway into the decision making, or is it they're going to let them do their own thing?
Star Wars.
It really depends. I mean,
I don't know.
At this point, trying to dissect how much influence upper level Disney has on each individual production is basically just playing into a game of conspiracy theories. I mean, there's no way to know, and no one is ever going to tell you, so even kind of speculating on it doesn't really have much of a point, because at this point, I mean, like, even now, I mean, thinking back, if you had asked me this question, 5 months ago, I probably would have given you a different answer. But right now, I can tell you that Bob Chapek and Bob Iger are much more focused on the fact that they want to get those parks reopened more than anything else. Like, those
definitely.
are the things they are worried about. They want to get the movies that were already in production back up on production, because that kind of stuff is more important. They want to get the stuff that's already finished. They want to get that in theaters. So the stuff that's in pre-production, the effect that the COVID-19 stuff is going to have is going to be ongoing for years and years and years to come. And right now, I think stuff that's in very early development is just like the least of anybody's worries, and trying to speculate how much influence any one person is going to have on something like Indiana Jones, where they've only just brought on a new director and they've only just started a script, is just, there's no point in it because we have no way of possibly knowing.
Yeah, Chaz, that was a stupid question. Moving on. Yeah, just kidding.
Real quick, did you?
I'm not trying to be an asshole, I promise. It just kind of comes naturally. I can't help myself.
But just to add to that, I mean, Indiana Jones it's a recognizable brand, but I don't think it's a big enough
no, it's not Star
brand
Wars.
that Disney is concerned that Lucasfilm could muck it up. I mean, if you look at the box office numbers for the Indiana Jones movies, I mean, the first 3 are in between $350 to $470 million worldwide gross.
Mm-hmm.
Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was big with over 780 million worldwide gross, but it's not Marvel, it's not Star Wars. I just don't think it's a priority for Disney. So Lucasfilm might have a lot of freeway with that. So
there's a long way to go with this film, but what do you guys think about it? Leave a comment down below and let us know what you think. But let's move on to another story, which is kind of a DC update to all of the Snyder Cut stuff that's happening. Other meetings are now starting to come in, and there's a report coming from Bleeding. Oh my God! look who wrote this! It's Caitlin's article. Wow!
Oh yeah, you're so smooth. Well done.
No, that was horrible. I'm so sorry. I just wanted to talk about it, and seeing that you had written about it already, I was like, well, what better thing to put up and talk about? And I want to tip it off with you first, because I did hear kind of an update with this story, or maybe it's just a rumor. Most of these are rumors from the beginning. Is that J.J. Abrams might have a lot of sway in writing something, maybe directing. What do you think?
Which you have to remember how many stories I write a day, so you need to be way more specific.
Well, we've got our Henry Cavill reportedly in talks to reprise the role of Superman.
Yes, okay.
However, the extension that I've heard today is that it could be coming from J.J. Abrams.
Well, so J.J. Abrams, the Bad Robot production company has been, I mean, they were given a
huge deal,
very large deal from Warner Brothers. But from my understanding, and I could be wrong, the focus that he was tasked with is to create original content for HBO Max.
Yes.
So he's already been assigned essentially to the Green Lantern ongoing series that will debut on HBO Max, and I know that is his involvement. Whether or not that transcends, into the movies, that's another question.
What was the original story with this, Caitlin?
The Henry Cavill story is the easiest way to probably compare this to a 1-to-1 ratio as far as the MCU goes, is that they want to bring Superman on in the Incredible Hulk role, and that he's going to be running around as a supporting player in other people's movies, but they're not going to be giving him his own movie. There are absolutely no discussions right now of another Superman individual movie, but they are going to be bringing him on in cameo and supporting role appearances in other people's movies. They haven't said whose movies yet, but it can't be Wonder Woman 1984 because that's done, and it can't be the Suicide Squad because that is also done. So we're looking at maybe Shazam 2, or possibly Black Adam, or maybe Aquaman 2, or maybe The Flash, if that ever happens. That was supposed to start production this month.
The Flash is going to happen?
Yeah, that was supposed to start production this month. Another movie that got killed by COVID, thank you.
But let's be real. If COVID didn't happen, would it have really started?
No.
It's kind of like
New
if
Mutants.
a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? It's like, do we know?
So, I mean, the best way I heard somebody describe this is that why did Henry Cavill have to star in one of the biggest Netflix shows of all time for Warner Brothers decide that he was actually worth keeping around?
It's
like,
so interesting.
I hope he takes them to the bank. I hope he does.
Yes,
because I
absolutely.
like Henry Cavill. I think he's a fine Superman. I don't like Batman v Superman. I didn't like Man of Steel, and I really didn't like Justice League. But I have nothing against him, and I think The Witcher is the most delicious hot mess in the entire world. But I love Henry, and I think
he needs some milk.
I think he's a genuinely fabulous
That's the first
person.
time that actually worked. I don't think I've ever had to use that in the right one.
Alan, I totally agree with you. He is a very marketable actor right now, especially with The Witcher. His character, even within the Mission Impossible movie, even as a villain, he's a marketable, desirable actor, and I think this also goes into why he did not cameo in the first Shazam. I just think those negotiations went sour.
Mm-hmm.
He was holding out.
Well, I just don't think he was getting the love that he thought he deserved from
He felt
Warner
underappreciated,
Brothers.
and he should have. They killed him off after 1.5 appearances. Like, that's bullshit. I'm
and the blame
sorry.
is really been set on him for a lot of stuff, when almost every DC fan can be in agreement that it's never been Henry Cavill's fault for Superman not really translating well
It's
in these
never
films.
been any of the actors' faults.
It's
in
the
any of
creatives. It's like a director chooses to create your character the specific way you want, and the actor's role is to interpret that the best way that they can.
Mhm.
It's not to try to veer away. And they didn't hire Marlon Brando to just stumble around and do whatever. But
Yeah.
Chaz, what do you think about this? Like, Henry Cavill could be back, but where do you see it going? And if it's going to be just in like an Incredible Hulk type thing, do you see a Justice League 2 coming a lot sooner because they want to include him with a lot of people, but maybe more than just a cameo?
I don't know, honestly. I think he's a great actor, and I don't have an issue with Superman, like him portraying Superman. Like I personally don't understand all the hate for Man of Steel. Like, I thought that was a pretty decent movie, like a new take on Superman, because there's been so many reincarnations of Superman. So I liked that approach. But I mean, I think we can all agree that BVS and Justice League is a whole nother thing with how they went with that. But kind of like what Andre said, like, my favorite role that he's been in is actually in Mission Impossible. I thought he played a really badass villain, and like his mustache was like really badass, you know. And the fact they had to CGI that out in Justice League, like, he's committed to his roles, you know, not being able to shave that off.
You need to watch The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He is
Oh,
so
Man from U.N.C.L.E. is great.
phenomenal.
That might be his best movie. Yeah, honest,
He is live
genuinely,
action Archer, and it's so amazing.
Yeah, I know he's really good in that. But
I gotta watch
so
that.
good. I love that movie.
A live action Archer. Wow. That's a good idea. They were
it's
talking
not.
Bob's
It's a
Burgers
terrible
movie.
idea.
Why are they going for a live action Archer?
Because Archer's more marketable.
No, I think that is the right answer, but why are they going with a Bob's Burgers movie? Because that feels more
Are
like
they going with the Bob's Burgers?
Yeah,
There's a
Fox
Bob's Burgers
announced
movie,
it.
but it's
Yeah,
an
Bob's
animated movie.
Burgers movie. But I don't know what animated film from a comedy, like besides South Park, really translated well. The Simpsons, no one is really saying like that movie was great. That's a whole different tangent. I don't know why I'm talking about that.
hey Patrick, I just wanted to say this though, just because I think I might be the odd man out within our little group here, because I'm a massive fan of Zack Snyder's DC movies.
Here's the thing: we all can say the Ultimate Cut was good.
It was okay.
So
Okay.
Well, I mean, at least
Okay.
I think people who are
Then
objective
maybe.
can say that it was at least better than what they put out in the theatrical cut. But I've done enough research to know really just kind of the details behind the production of both BVS and Justice League, to just know that those movies really just were a chop shop done by studio executives. And it's especially, I guess, just when you really spend time to look into the production of a movie, I think it's really easy to blame a director for the success or failure of a movie, when in reality there's so many hands involved, and especially with such a big franchise with what Warner Brothers has and what they were trying to do with the DC movies. But I don't know. The Snyder Cut announcement from HBO Max, it still leaves me scratching my head wondering what Warner Brothers' plan is moving forward, because they've already recasted Batman, and then they did the Joker movie, which has nothing to do with the DCEU.
Can we talk about why is there so much sudden animosity towards Joker from the DC?
I've always hated Joker.
Because there's that group that
are you talking specifically the movie?
That's fair.
That's
fair.
Movie?
If you already started not liking it, that's totally fair. But most of the DC people that were like, "Oh, we love it," I've been seeing a lot just like maybe just not hating on it, but really wanting to yell, "It's not part of the DC universe," in like a really snooty way. Where it's like, we get it, but we can't talk about it or include it in rankings or anything. It's weird.
What I think is going on is that the fact that the Snyder Cut is now real is that some fans are thinking they're going to get back that interconnected universe that DC initially promised them. And I don't think that's the right decision to make, and I don't think that's the decision that DC and Warner Brothers should make, because we already have an interconnected cinematic universe, and it's with Marvel. Why can't DC go off and do their own thing? I hated Joker, like really, really hated that movie. But I respect what it was doing in the sense that it went off and did something completely different. I respect I mean, I loved Birds of Prey, and it was a giant, delicious hot mess again.
Oh,
But-
me too. Were we
but-
the only ones in that theater that were like having fun in it? Because I was sitting next to people that were like, "Why are you laughing, creep?"
No, I was sitting next to Rebecca Frost. We were losing our freaking minds. Are you kidding?
Nice.
Yeah, no, I co-sign that, Caitlin. I think Warner Brothers should stop the copying, or at least the desire to become the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
Yeah.
because nothing will ever become the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Not even Marvel. I don't even think Marvel can replicate what they've done.
Oh, there's
of
no
course
way.
not. It was
No,
lightning
you
in a
can't.
bottle. You can never make that happen
Right.
twice. And the
So,
fact,
yeah.
the reason why BVS stumbled, the reason why Justice League stumbled, a lot of it comes down to the fact is they were trying to do the Marvel model 5 times as fast without any of the
Exactly.
buildup.
Yep.
Right.
And-
And you can't
That-
blame a creator for it. You can blame a lot of rules that were set up
And it's
for
and
things.
it feels like when Warner Brothers steps back and lets their movie makers make their movies, the movies tend to turn out better.
Right.
Wonder
Yeah.
Woman, for example.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge Aquaman fan, mostly because I don't really like Jason Momoa. He kind of dragged that whole movie down for me, but I like everybody else in it. But I respect it because that's 100% a James Wan movie. That's a Kathy Yan movie when you're talking about Birds of Prey, so on and so forth. That's what they need to do. They need to embrace creator-focused movies and forget about the interconnected cinematic universe stuff. And I feel like now that the Snyder Cut exists, DC fans are going, okay, well, we need to push Joker away because we don't want to think about Joker anymore, because that movie is proof that we're not going to get our cinematic universe anymore. We can pretend that Aquaman is still in the DC
Or a
universe.
lot of
We can
like
pretend
Pattinson
that,
is out,
Shazam
back
is
to
still in
back
there.
flick.
We
Yeah.
can pretend that, Birds of Prey is still in there. They kind of still all share the same basic DNA while Joker doesn't. So that's why I think that DC fans are kind of trying to reject the entire premise of Joker, because completely accepting Joker means completely having to let go of the fact that they're not going to have their cinematic universe anymore.
I think that's a really good observation. I didn't think about that. What do you guys think about Man of Steel 2 potentially, or cameoed in whatever The Rock is up to, or in Shazam? Leave a comment down below, and let's jump into I guess the bigger meat of this, and then our quick game show. And Chaz, we had the opportunity to talk yesterday on your podcast. Thank you again for having me on. And we were discussing HBO Max a little bit, that we had first gotten it. I wanted to know what your thoughts on it are first, and then we'll just kind of like tee off with everybody. I'm sure all of us have kind of looked at it at one point in time within the time that it's come out. And I'd like to know what you guys have seen. What do you think of the interface? But starting with you, Chaz, what do you think about it?
Well, so when I first got up in the morning, I just like opened the app to see what it was all about, and I thought the interface was interesting. It was kind of complicated to find movies that you like wanted to watch and see like what they had, but seeing what kind of content they had on the platform, it got me really excited, and I think it can be a serious contender for streaming. And I know a lot of people were complaining about how like you have to fork extra money to get it, but I'm excited. And like I saw they had like the TCM on there, the Turner Classic Movies, and I started watching those last night, and like this is great. Like if they could get all the classics on there, that'd be cool, But,
it's got one of the best collections of pre-1980s movies that's on the internet besides the Turner Channel.
Yeah,
For real.
And-
The Criterion Channel, I mean.
yeah, and they also have like Whose Line Is It Anyway, and then Practical Jokers, like all these, and like somebody who doesn't own cable, like I'm like this is like heaven for me, so I can just turn this on in the background whenever I want, So I really like it. I think the interface could use some tweaks here and there, and like they're also not streaming stuff in 4K yet, which is kind of a downside. But for a launch, like I'm pretty impressed with how it's looking so far. Like I think there's a lot of improvements that will happen that will make it even stronger.
Yeah. Have you guys watched any of the originals so far? Any of like the first episodes of any?
Yeah.
No, just me and Chaz. All right. Well, you guys can leave. We'll talk.
Bold of you to assume that I have free time.
I've been binging Big Bang Theory ever since.
Gotcha. Well, I think we've got enough. Because honestly, I just went through. I think the first couple of originals that came out. Anna Kendrick's, that was a Love Life, which is kind of like a rom-com thing that had quite a twist in the end. And yeah, it looked okay. It didn't look too bad. They're starting up with like a lot of weird stuff, like the Looney Tunes cartoons, the Not Too
Those are
Late Show with
great.
Elmo. Okay, so tell me what you thought about those.
I haven't watched them because I don't have HBO Max. But I've heard my TV section has been awash with all of the HBO Max stuff for the last couple of days, and everybody I know who I've talked to has said that the Looney Tunes stuff is fan-freaking-tastic.
Yeah.
That
Nice.
is like the thing I'm looking forward to. For me, a streaming service will live and die by finding that one original programming that's going to make me eventually sign up. Like, I didn't get Netflix until Daredevil came out. It took forever for me to eventually get Hulu. Like, I didn't get Prime until I found a show that I was legitimately interested in. And it's like, I have to find a show that I'm interested in before I sign up for a streaming service. And I haven't seen anything at HBO that's made me want to sign up yet. So I'm still kind of sitting back and waiting to see when I get to that point. But at this point, I've got 3 streaming services, and it already feels like too much.
Right. Oh,
Or
the
streaming
not
services. I've got
to.
Disney Plus. I forgot I had Disney Plus.
Oh, Disney Plus has like 3 that you can combine in with it too.
Yeah,
So
I've got-
it's kind
I
of
did that.
becoming cable eventually.
Yeah.
The Not Too Late Show with Elmo happened,
Mhm.
and I did watch the John Mulaney episode, which I gotta say, it was. I mean, it's not for me. It's not for me, but it's definitely for somebody. And it looked entertaining enough for like a kid to be like, I've got my own little late show thing. I can be with my parents for it. But I wonder how long that gimmick will last for them to try to do like the half adult, half kid jokes, because some of them just didn't really land super well. But there's all the HBO stuff. Andre, have you watched any of like the HBO originals that have come out? Because all of them are going to be on this platform too.
Yeah, and I've been a subscriber to HBO Now for almost 2 years. So
Same here.
The Bachelor
it
and the
just-
Bachelorette? Oh my God!
Oh, I
had
need to
no
legitimately
idea.
tell one of my movie writers that he will
Shut
be
my
very excited because he
face.
unironically watches those shows.
I'm genuinely smiling. This is so great. I really want to.
I have no
I should
comment.
put you in
Oh, we're
touch
gonna-
with my writer, Jeremy Patrick. You and
Oh,
him would
please.
get along. You guys can talk Bachelor.
Does he also watch 90 Day Fiancé?
I don't know if he does. I should ask him. He
Okay, 'cause
probably does.
If not, it's non-negotiable. Those two come together, especially since the last. I won't get into it later on. Sorry, Andre. What were you saying?
I don't
Worst
remember what was the
goddamn host.
question.
Oh, shit.
Oh, other HBO shows that you've watched.
Oh yeah, no. So I've been Fire Cube or something
God
like
damn
that.
it.
Yeah, they're not on
I'm
there.
getting
which
out of
is-
here. Goodbye.
Stupid.
Yeah,
It was
that's
the one thing
that's
I
a
got.
massive fail. It's a massive Warner
It's
Brothers. I
such a
don't know
big
why they didn't
platform.
do it.
Why don't they have that? Maybe because Roku works with Netflix. Like because Netflix was
You
the company
can't
that
do
created
that
Roku.
anymore. You can't.
Yeah.
You can't completely just not work with somebody anymore. Everything is way
Yeah,
too interconnected.
right.
You can't be specialized anymore. You just can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder
Apple
if
has something to say to you.
well, so like I know Roku's layout is really simple and really basic. So I wonder if it's just an interface thing that they're trying to like work out to make sure it does work, or if there's a deal that they're trying to work on.
it will
Mm.
eventually come there.
Yeah.
It's like when
Yeah.
a cellular service has an exclusive phone. Like when iPhones were first released, they were exclusive to AT&T. Like
Yeah.
it will eventually get on Roku eventually.
Mhm. We also have all the Studio Ghibli films, and Crunchyroll
Yeah.
has imported.
Yeah.
So this is the first time that any of the Studio Ghibli films have been available on streaming in the
Mhm.
U.S. So
Yeah,
that's
it's pretty
that's
big.
pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Have you
I have
seen
a
it?
friend on a Discord server who just watched Princess Mononoke for the first time, and she sent me a message, and there was a whole bunch of crying emojis. I was like, yeah, that's a fair reaction to a Ghibli movie. Just go watch Spirited Away and
Are you
come back
dubs
to
or
me.
subs? And I'm going to ask that question to all of you. Dubs over subs? Or subs
I
over
don't-
dubs?
It doesn't matter.
Subs over dubs, dude.
I'm a subs
Watching
over
the-
dubs, man.
Watch it in the
Yeah.
original language and then like read the subtitles.
History. That 1 inch
Confession:
barrier.
I've never seen any Studio Ghibli movie not in English.
I haven't either though. So
Whoa.
Andre, you and I are in the same boat.
That's good though. Because I remember the first few animes I was introduced to had dubs, and it was harder, I think, to just like to realize that it was somebody that was trying really hard to have an American accent, but it still was just a weird crossover. And I'd rather just have the original voice of whoever was doing them.
Okay, but here's the thing: it's like I'm not a huge anime fan. So like even though those are there, and like I'm pretty sure the Ghibli Studios would be a good start to like maybe check it out. Like there's a lot of options though, and like now it just feels like it's overwhelming.
Hmm. I
I
remember
agree.
being an anime fan in high school a million years ago, before Chaz was born.
I don't know who that was a burn on. It was
It was a burn on me and my gray hair.
no. I was thinking it was a burn on me. I don't know. There's so many films on this thing though. The more that I was thinking about it, the more I was talking with Chaz about how like the podcast can utilize it, and I was thinking, why not? I don't know. I was looking at like Babysitters Club and like the old book clubs that used to happen in the 90s and stuff. Those don't really happen for movies. Like that doesn't exist anymore, or at least I've not seen it, and I'm not in that group yet. And hopefully, with this introduction to what I think is a cool idea, is the Gaggle of Geeks movie club. What does it mean? I don't know yet, but that's why I have you three here to kind of help me brainstorm this. So my idea is that we kind of have like a scholastic book club, like what it was in elementary school, kind of, right? Where we've got a scheduled amount of films. And I think there's no better way to kind of start going into this with understanding that we're in quarantine and we can watch a lot of classics now by going through Roger Ebert's The Great Movies and start going through these volumes. Because there are so fucking many movies in this. The first book is crazy. I've got all of them. You've not seen them ever before, but I thought it would be a great idea to do that and to also have some type of thing where when we meet up every month, we can like whoever is on the live stream, maybe a month subscription to whatever service that we're focusing on during that month, or just I'll send you a pizza because that's what the magazine things were before, where if you did enough shit and turned in enough stuff, you got free pizza. It all seems childish and I don't care because it's a movie club. But I don't know. I kind of want to brainstorm it. If you guys don't think this is a good idea, I want to hear it. What are your ideas that I don't know, what do you think? Oh God.
Chaz, why don't you go first?
Bye. Oh, well.
Chaz, you're the regular,
Patrick.
man. You go first.
Patrick, I think that's actually a great idea. I've already told you that.
I know you have, but
I just my thing is if they do that, like, are you gonna give them like 2 weeks advance notice of like what to watch, and like is there gonna be like a shared document of all of our thoughts or what, you know, like, and like is it gonna be like subscription based to yours, like where it's bonus content like a Patreon or something like that, you know, like a bonus episode for listeners exclusively or something like that?
That's a good question, and I think that it depends on what I hear from people as far as inclusion goes. Like, how do you want to be involved with this? We can do weekly live streams, and as far as scheduling, I think we need to do it monthly. Like, give them at least 4 weeks worth of runtime so that they can kind of choose the ones that they want to see. Because I'll be very honest. The first one in this book is 2001: A Space Odyssey. I don't know if I want to start that like that. Because maybe that's like the toughest one to start with, you know, with a book club. You don't start with like Les Mis for a book club.
No, dude, you totally start with Moby Dick and then you just like pull it apart.
But there's so many of those that are classics that really is what made me want to do this, so that we could talk about the classics and have history behind it. And I think that would be a good inclusion with this, like having segments that aren't just about like a review of the movie where people can jump in, but like the history of how it started, the actors, the actresses, like Humphrey Bogart, nobody knows who that is anymore, or Sidney Lumet, or like all of these creators back in the day that have inspired so many films that we don't realize like can be reflected in this show. I was thinking,
so
in this club,
would they like do a lot of research then, and like the whole episode is like about how the movie was made and like fun facts about it that like other people in the podcast and listeners might not know about it? Like
I'd want to do some type of breakdown of
okay.
behind the
Sounds like homework.
It sounds like homework, yes, and not something that I would require the listeners to do. It would totally be coming from us. It would be more than anything just like if during the month there's a thing that you want to watch on one of the weeks, it works. If one week doesn't work, it doesn't work.
I'd be interested in giving it a trial run to see how it goes before committing to anything.
And I don't think this should be like a Patreon thing because clearly I don't know how we're going to do this yet. So we need to first work out the kinks, just like this show, and go from there. But that was kind of the tie-in from HBO Max, is that we're going to start this movie club. So expect pretty soon to have updates on where we're going to be starting and what films are coming out. And with that said, I would love to transition over to the coolest thing that we've done so far in this
Segue.
in this thing. Let's put the intro thing on that video. It's The Cost is Boss with us talking about Cameo Edition. People, have you guys heard of the Cameo app or website? Well, this is a website where celebrities are able to send personalized greetings to their fans. Anybody that pays, really. So I guess it couldn't be a fan. It could be someone that hates them and pays them to do it. Or send a personalized message. Some are free. Some are super expensive. The tiers are crazy. And I think what makes it hilarious is seeing the celebrities' price points and what they value themselves as, or value a message. I'm sure they don't value themselves as like $100, but they value like sending a greeting to someone. I'm about that much worth. That my time is worth this much. So my idea is you all have in your chat, and you've likely brought these up already, the pictures of these celebrities that I've picked. The rules are that we're going to start going through these, and whoever can get closest to what the guesstimation of the price is that they've set themselves will get a point. If you get to 3 points, that's when you win a prize. And what is that prize? Well, you will get one of the cameos, not in the group, but the free one on Cameo, whichever one is free. You can get Santa. You could get 90 Day Fiance cast members. And I think that's the appropriate gifts for these. And I am so excited to start this. Let's start weird bossa nova music that we're going to be playing during it.
I apparently can't see these pictures.
Oh no. We've ruined it. I've got to re-upload them. Ah! We'll start with number 1. So this is a character that you've seen from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It's Elijah Wood is booking. And how much do you think he's worth in this? How much do you think he wants out of this one? We'll start with Andre. What do you think?
Oh, I wish I had like a barometer on what I knew was like reasonable.
What I can say, that's probably a fair point. Most of these range from 0 to, I think the highest point that I've seen is maybe 500.
Oh, really? Okay. For Elijah Wood, I bet Elijah Wood is under 100. No disrespect. I love Frodo.
I fucking love this so much.
Right. I'm going to say 85. 85.
All right. Let's go. Caitlin, what are your guesses?
200.
All right. And Chaz, what do you think?
I'll go 350.
Wait, so, but Patrick, this is like Price is Right. So, like, if you go over, you're over, right?
I don't know, because I don't know shit about the Price is Right, but the Cost is Boss. That's where that's the show we're fucking talking about. Copyright, don't do that. Let's go ahead and see who is closest to this. Uploading now. Wow. $225 is how much you can book for Elijah Wood.
I was way under.
Caitlin, you are the winner.
Good job.
All right, moving on to
$225.
Right? That's the thing. You never know with these things. You never know.
I'm not even a little surprised.
Well, some you can kind of guesstimate maybe coming from like cons and stuff like that. I'm turning off this. It was fun for a minute, but now
I'm
getting
sorry,
mad.
Elijah. I did not mean to lowball you.
I mean, to be fair though, Andre, it makes sense because he produces a lot of like indie features now.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I could see that. Like,
No,
Yeah.
no. I think any guess right now is appropriate because we're all learning the barometers, right? Like where they're all at and what most of them are getting.
okay,
And Chaz, you're gonna probably be lucky later on, like doing this multiple times. That you'll be like schooling people when they show up.
what's the price range again?
Price range could be from 0 to 500 is the most that I've seen for the other one.
Okay.
Cool.
But jumping into the new round, go ahead and check the next picture that is up. It is your favorite crazy actor, Gary Busey. I don't know why I have that accent. Gary Busey is up, and we'll start with Chaz on this one. Or actually, let's start with the winner, Caitlin. What do you think Gary Busey is booking for with this? What is his costs?
150.
All right, and then from there, let's go. Andre, what are your guesses?
If Elijah Wood was you said 225 for Elijah Wood?
Mm-hmm. What are you? Why are you comparing? There's no.
I'm gonna go.
Gary Busey was looking up Elijah Wood and like, damn it, gotta make sure to.
I'm gonna say 195.
Okay, 195. And Chaz, what is your guess?
One more time. What did you say the price ranges were?
My God.
0 to 500.
0 to 500. Yes.
I'm gonna guess 75. Only because he has 88 reviews, which seems like it would be.
You see, and I'm glad that I put these pictures up because you have a lot of clues to look at with this.
But Elijah only had one.
I'll be honest. When I was testing this with my wife, I was like, guess who it is? She was like, why? How do you even start like that? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and send this over. The winner or closest to Gary Busey, booked now for $350.
Wow.
So Andre, you get the point. Yeah.
So that means that 88 people have paid $300 plus just for a little 10-second clip of Gary Busey.
Wow.
And like I think later on we'll show examples of some of these videos too. 'Cause I think that is another clue to see what type of production value they're putting into their videos, right? If they're putting in a lot of stuff, you would assume that maybe they're charging maybe more.
Okay, but off of that, 88 people paying that much money, he's already made $30,000.
Oh my God.
Wait. So what
I get the money, I spend it on cheese whiz and I put it in my hair.
Patrick, what was it? 350?
350.
350 for a 10-second clip?
Mm-hmm. Well, it can be. It depends.
I was gonna say that's $35 a second.
You know what though? He shoots on a red.
Does he?
That's why I think, because it says red on his
Oh wow.
tag thing right there.
Well, Gary Busey, he ain't no gold digger.
Ooh.
I ain't saying he is. New round though. Moving into the next picture. You know this person from Seinfeld. It's the Soup Nazi.
No soup for you.
No soup for you, but maybe a video if you've got the price right. So Chaz, what is your
75?
Guess? 75. All right, let's go to Caitlin.
50.
50. And Andre.
Dang. Chaz stole mine. I'm gonna go 80.
Wow.
That's the benefit
This
of going
is how
last.
you play the game.
That's the benefit of going last.
All right. Well, with those locked in, let's see what the answer is. And Larry Thomas, aka the Soup Nazi, you can book him now for $80. Andre got it exactly correct. Ridiculous. He cheated. He didn't cheat. He did the thing that all the winners do. Bet it the right way.
Oh man.
So now we've
Chaz,
got 2 for Andre, 1 for Caitlin, and 0 for Chaz. So I'm glad that you will be with me for the next few ones, Chaz, because you're going to need it to figure out how to get all these right.
Seriously.
Moving into the next round. Let's see. Bringing it up. We've got 2 Office characters, and the first one that I bring to your attention is Michael Scott's former boss and former lover. It is Jan Levinson from The Office and Transparent.
Question real quick.
What?
Does her tag give anything away?
I have no idea. No. I don't know. Like, I think the more that we look into this, and I think there will be people that play this game that are going to be like, but asking a lot of questions like that, which I think will influence and predict maybe the prices. I think there will be an algorithm to figure this out exactly. I just don't know what.
Yeah, I didn't focus too much on that until Chaz just said it. So I was like, oh, how about that?
Ah, you see, they even have like a 75 plus option. Why am I telling you this? Shit. Okay, so
I was asking.
Let's shit.
That wasn't on any of the other ones.
You know what? Yeah, you're right. Okay, cool. Let's start with Caitlin.
Don't worry.
Thank you, Caitlin. Who do you think, or what is the price for this? What do you think?
Am I going first?
Yeah.
125.
All right, we got 125. Andre, what is your guess? And please don't say 130.
No, but I was going to say 150. That was my original thought, so I'll stick with it.
All right, and Chaz, we've got lower 100s in the mid.
I'll go 120.
Wow. Wow.
No, Chaz, either go $1.
This is amazing. I love this so much. Let's go ahead and take a look at the results. For Malora Hardin, the actor from The Office who played Jan Levinson Gould, or Jan Levinson if you presume, is $299.
What?
Book her for $299.
$300.
Bunch of bitches thinking that she's worth less than that. How dare you? That is Jan Levinson. That's exactly the price that Jan Levinson would have selected. She's going for her character.
I love how she couldn't go $1 more.
Oh, but guess who won this
Andre
entire
did.
thing? My goodness.
Chaz, if you just went 151, that's how you play the game, man.
But the $75 plus is what threw me off.
Man, cleaned house. Clean house. I was going to be like, let's at least do one more, but we can't even do one more because...
Let's finish the rest.
Do you want to finish the rest? I say let's
we gotta go with
got,
beans. We at least got to do beans.
We've got 3 more, so let's go with 3 more. Hopefully, the last one won't throw some of you. If you've seen Curb Your Enthusiasm, you'll know who it is. But we'll go with one more Office character. Let's go ahead and bring in our next person, who is Oscar Nunez.
Wow.
Who I just listened to on the Office Ladies podcast. If you aren't listening to that, it's fantastic.
They're
going through all of the previous episodes and bringing on guest stars. The last one was Gay Witch Hunt, where they had the lovely Oscar Nunez on, who divulged to everybody that all of that was just improv. The kiss, all of it.
So genius.
That was not in the script. Michael decided right then to start doing it, and he remembers because he was thinking, like, I need to make sure I'm turning right or left when I go in, because you have to pick a side, right? But as he was doing it, Michael wasn't choosing a side. So he was like, he's not going, he's doing it. But to improv that entire scene, even after that, when he's like, we're still here, we're all still here. And like Oscar saying thank you. Nobody knew that was happening.
Oh my gosh. That's so
confession,
genius.
I haven't watched a single episode of The Office.
Oh my
Really?
gosh.
Oh, hey. If there's anything to binge during quarantine,
I have a lot of TV shows I haven't watched.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite comedy
I've never watched Stranger Things. I haven't watched Breaking Bad. I've seen one episode of The Walking Dead.
This is something to take into account, because I assumed wrongly that The Office was going to be a little bit more universal, but no. We need to look for some. I'm really sorry for the last one on this one, because we're going only from. She's only famous from Curb Your Enthusiasm, so hopefully all of you have seen that.
I haven't.
Yeah. Okay. Oh well.
It's like Seinfeld on steroids.
We're still playing. No. Oscar Nunez. Let's start with Andre. What do you think is the price point for Oscar? If
I'm gonna
Jan's
go
was
I'm gonna go
$2.99
150 again. I'm gonna go 150 again.
All right, we got 150. Chaz, what do you think?
175.
Okay, and Caitlin?
180.
Go!
Ooh, all right. This is so much fun. Okay. And the answer is for Oscar Nunez from The Office. You can book him now for $150. My God, Andre. So he's not coming on whenever we do this anymore. He'll be on for Movie Court. He'll be on for one other stupid show we come up with. No, I'm really I'm happy this is turning out This is turning out really fun. Let's bring up the round. And we all know who this is already because we've kind of led up to it. It's our good friend, Stephen Anthony Lawrence, Disney actor from Even Stevens. You know him as Beans. So, what do you think Beans is selling himself for? I don't know why I had to phrase it that way.
I'll go first and give everyone a fighting chance.
You're not going to go first, Andre. You stay the fuck back, okay? Chaz, what is your guess for Stephen Anthony Lawrence?
I'll say 400.
Wow.
He's hurting for cash. So there are 70 people out there that have paid $400.
I'm going to go ahead and start now. No, that's wrong. That's not it. Didn't have to use that one this whole time until that one. Caitlin, what do you think is the answer for this one?
100.
100. And Andre, what is your guess?
$1.
You are that asshole on The Price is Right.
This guy.
Congratulations.
How's it feel down there on the ground, you snake?
No, my for reals, I'm gonna say $40. That's my real guess. $40.
$40. All right. Well, wouldn't you know it, when it comes to Stephen Anthony Lawrence, Beans, he can be booked now for $45. Andre, you're actually just good at guessing. I will chalk this up to you've probably done some Vegas odds. You've bet on the horses. You've bet on the llamas. I don't know what betting really is. I've never done that.
I did grow up in Nevada.
Patrick, have you ever been to Vegas in your life?
I try to. I've lived. I mean, St. George. It's
no.
Well, mesquites. Some of those places. They tell me about the crap, and the crap is in the blackjackers.
Oh God, I can't tell if you're joking or not.
Moving into the last round. And I want to, before we do this, because we're going to kind of wrap up after this, thank my guests for coming on. Really and genuinely, this has been so much fun for me and Chaz. And let's start, Andre, at the Backseat Directors podcast. What do you got cooking? What are you up to, and where can the people find you?
Yeah, no. So backseatdirectors.com, you can find everything that we do there. Thank you. I host a weekly podcast, and we right now a lot of my episodes have been focusing on a new segment that we do called Defend Your Movies. So I have guests come on, and they have to choose 3 movies that are rotten on Rotten Tomatoes, but that they love, and they defend their movies. So that's something I've been doing. So I'll have to have each of you on there to have a Defend Your Movie segment. But yeah, no, and we do movie reviews. Obviously, all our movie reviews are focused on movies that have come straight to streaming or on Netflix and things like that. But we're just trying to survive through the pandemic. So yeah, backseatdirectors.com.
Thank you so much again. And Caitlin, thank you so much for coming on. I really have been so excited to have you onto this. And I loved all your insight for this episode. Please come back again. Where can the people find you?
You can find me in a couple of places. As I said, I am the EIC over at Bleeding Cool. I'm also one of our primary film writers and primary film critic. I haven't been doing a lot of reviewing lately because for a bunch of reasons, mostly dealing with the pandemic. I've also haven't been doing as much writing lately, mostly because I've had to take on a much more copy editing type of duty, but I've been doing more writing lately, so you can find me over there and just read all of my writer's stuff. I have such an amazing team putting out just such high quality work. You can follow me on Twitter at Katie's Movies, and you can also listen to me on my podcast, which comes out every Friday morning. The Nerd Dome podcast, we just released a new episode at time of recording today. And yeah, that's what I got.
Thank you so much. And of course, Chaz, how are you, man? Thank you for coming on every week, all the time, and doing this and dealing with me. Where can the people find you? And yeah, when's the next podcast going to be up? I know it's not mine. Who's the next one?
So you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. And my podcast, new episode came out today, actually, with Mira Bashir, who is in charge of the Salt Lily magazine. The next one is a J.R. Curtis, and that's going to be out in maybe next week or 2 weeks. I don't know, because I've really said for 2 weeks, but I'm thinking about going weekly, so we'll see.
Very cool. Well, and with that said, let's go into the final round for this game show. Thank you again so much. And that person is Susie Essman, that you know is Susie from Curb Your Enthusiasm, or at least I know one of you knows from Curb Your Enthusiasm. If
Larry,
you guys
such
are
a
sleeping,
fucking asshole.
Yeah, you were really missing on like one of the funniest characters.
I know. Believe me, there is a large pile of TV shows that I need to watch, but yeah, I mostly just
Curb in
have
the
stuff
Office
going
should be
on
up
in the
there.
background.
And Chaz, may I just say, knowing her character in Curb is going to help you when it comes to selecting this. So you
then
have
I should definitely go
an
last.
Edge. You could definitely get a point on the board. You could do this. So let's go. Starting with Caitlin, what is your guess?
Oh, lucky me. Well, the tag says 75 plus, so we know it's 75 plus.
See, this is good. I love the deducting already.
No, thank you. 225.
Okay, 225. Let's move to Andre. What is your guess?
Gosh, Gary Busey was 300. Jam Levinson.
I'm sorry, Gary Busey?
Busey.
Say Gary Busey.
I mean, you didn't get air horned for that? What the hell?
I didn't. It's on a different sound effects folder.
What kind of millennial are you?
It's a different sound effects folder.
It's too late.
Yeah, again.
I'm gonna say 190.
All right, and Chaz, it is up to you, my man. I've given you every opportunity in this round. You have the last guess, and you know this person. What is your guess?
I'll go 125.
What's it gonna be?
And your winner, Caitlin, with 325.
Wow!
I was still way off, too.
Holy cow, 325.
So, as Dee said, or the opposite of what Dee said in It's Always Sunny, worst is not first. You did get a point in this. Chaz, my God, were you just doing this for our guests? So that
Yeah, totally. I mean,
I got 2 points in this.
Cool.
What are you talking about? I got the first and the last one.
I'm sure if we had switched this over, I would not have gotten most of this. I am really, though. I think this is going to be a good. This is a good opportunity. I think we got a good idea with this. So thank you again, everybody. Leave your comments down below, and we will see you at the next review.